So
maybe what we should do is
we don't really have a topic today, ladies and gentlemen. I can't remember. Oh yeah, we're talking to the one with the light on. The one with the light on is the one we're talking to. Yeah, we're waving at different cameras in here. It's like, hey, how you doing? Hi, hello.
Did a little bit of Home Depot excursion with my mom earlier today, so I'm still in like a full home improvement garb.
Yeah. So I think we should give the people out there who are watching an update on your garden. How's your garden coming along?
My garden is coming along great. I went out to go weed and put my starts out, and I got about maybe 2 hours worth of work into that, and then my son threw a couple of handfuls of dirt directly into my eyes. He was helping. It was very helpful. He in the space of gardening, I managed to get 2 of our plots partially put together. My son buried himself completely in dirt, threw dirt at me, got it into my shirt, into the because I don't know, for those of you who've been watching us for a while, I'm a breast cancer survivor. I wear prosthesis, but I don't like the silicone ones. I think they're obnoxious, so it's crocheted that a friend of mine.
Look at my hair.
Your hair is sexy. That another breast cancer survivor made for me. And so it's crocheted and stuffed, basically, like little pillows. Anyways, my son threw a handful of dirt at me, got right in it, like into the pillow. So, and then in my eyes, and he was having an absolute blast. And I told him that we don't throw dirt at mommy, and he took that to heart, and he threw dirt at everyone else. And I said, we don't throw dirt at
well, you didn't
anyone.
say everybody else.
Just
not that mommy.
Yeah. So then I told him we don't throw dirt at anyone. So then he just started throwing dirt in the air, which meant everyone got to enjoy it.
And the other day, I mowed the lawn, and I put all the grass clippings into the compost pile. And he climbed into the compost pile and proceeded to cover himself with every grass clipping until he was a green grass monster coming out of it. And he was like, "Rah!" and his hair and everywhere. So much fun to try to get out of his hair and his bath.
Gardening with a child.
Yeah, I was like, why did you have to put it in your hair? I mean, I can take the clothes off you and wash those, but get it, it's in there. And of course, he's not a big fan of, me brushing his hair or combing his hair.
Oh no, he runs away, and then he goes, please stop.
He's gotten a little bit better with the comb. As long as I comb my hair and then I show him, he'll take the comb and hold it on his head like this. As if he was going to actually do it, and then I kind of guide his hand through and show him that it doesn't hurt. It's a lot easier to do it that way.
Yeah. We're reaching that point where we're coming into some issues with the teaching. We're teaching bodily boundaries. If you don't want someone to touch you, you tell them no or no thank you. Like, you don't have to give people hugs or kisses if you don't want to, or tickles or anything like that. Yeah, I know. When hugs.
We want kisses. We want hugs. We want snuggles.
Yeah. Or he's still sneaky. He'll run up and act like he's going to give you a hug, and then take your snack and then run off. Now you don't have a hug and you have no snack.
No snack, no hug, and he's gone.
Yeah. Anyway.
1, 2, 3, you're out.
So, we're teaching him that if he says no and he doesn't want to be touched, that people will respect his boundaries and that he can establish those boundaries. So, like if we're tickling him, we're playing with him, and he says no, then we stop and say, thank you for telling us no, da-da-da-da-da. Well, now we're encountering that area where things like personal grooming, like hair brushing, he'll go, no, please stop, and you're like, okay, well, yes, people can't touch your body without you wanting. However, you do have to brush your hair, buddy. So either daddy's going to brush it or you're going to brush it, but it's getting brushed, and it's causing some issues because
My favorite's bath time. He gets out of the bath, and he's to the point where he does pretty good washing himself. Not so well rinsing himself off, so he'll be covered in soap suds.
So
and he gets out of the tub, and he'll put extra soap suds on his head before he gets out, just in case I thought that there was a chance he was going to come out of the bathtub without, you know, the soap suds. And you know, so now he wants to take a bubble bath, and then he wants to take a shower. And but the shower is more to stand there just outside of the space where the water is actually spraying, and then maybe put his hand into the spraying water from the shower, and then turn it over and do this. And then he'll go, yes, yes, no, no, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
In
I
the
like
water.
that. He goes, maybe.
In the water. Maybe. Yes, yes, no, no.
I have noticed that sometimes when he gets upset, he'll go and sit under the tub.
Under?
Yeah, like with the water under the water. Yeah,
so
not like under the tub.
I was like, how the heck did he get under the tub?
He'll
like
sit,
a clawfoot tub.
Yeah, he'll sit under the spray.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He likes it. It's like rain.
One thing I've been doing is I'll plug the tub up and I'll put a little bit of water in there so I can put his bubble, you know, the bubble bath in there, right?
Right.
But then I'll turn on the shower.
Right. He wants me to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe somebody else knows, you know, has had young ones in the past, and maybe you have some tips for us that might be beneficial for certain things, like, you know, for grooming. For, you know, he's 4, but I mean, there's going to be differences, in, you know, and barriers to it, and you know, but maybe you know something, especially with the little boys. I mean, our daughter was easy peasy. You know, she got to grooming and she got it right away. You know, bath time, you know, showers, everything. She got that right off the bat. To him, not so much at this point. You know, even at 4, he's kind of like, this is playtime. Do I have to wash myself off? Do I really have to do that?
Oh my gosh, the hair washing does not want his hair washed at all.
No.
That is a struggle. I'm like, you gotta wash your hair.
So,
once you wash your hair, I'll let you play with the Corvette in the the tub, but you have to wash your hair. But he's got a little race car that he wants to take into the bathtub, and because he's adorable and 4, we eventually let him.
It's a Camaro.
Well, okay, well, it's a car. It's a red car.
It's a 1969 Camaro SS.
It's got wheels, and
it was never meant to go in the tub. For what I paid for that stupid model, it was never meant to go near water. But he has decided, this is going to be my new bath toy.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's our tiny man.
Ah,
this is a freaking model.
I lost.
Die-cast model car.
I had no choice. It was like, you know, he's going to play with it. At least he's in the tub.
And because if you say no, then he gives you those sad eyes. Yeah. Oh, his new thing. It's so cute. He goes up to... Will told him, I think it was he couldn't use the computer. Will was using my rig for something. And baby comes up and wants to play Minecraft.
Rig?
Will tells him.
Your rig?
Yeah.
Don't you call your computer? It's a rig?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I was just like, I'm like, what is a rig?
Yeah.
Your rig?
My gaming rig.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Anyway, so Will tells him he can't use it, right? Go just with the sad face, right? And I look over at the baby. He goes, "Hi, sad." It's like, "Oh, I can see you're sad, buddy. Cry." I'm like, "I know, real tears. I can see them." I go, "Will, how can you tell this baby no? Look at the face." And he leans over and he goes, "Look at the face!" He's yelling, and, "Look at the face!" He's like...
Raising children is such a joy. Yeah, there's another page in the handbook that they left out by accident. How to raise a child and still keep some sanity.
I don't think that's...
You think it's possible?
Hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't change a moment of it for anything, but you know, some days it's like it's an uphill battle.
Mm.
You know, my favorite thing is, you know, when we go to the park and he just runs, and he doesn't stop. He just keeps on running.
Baby loves to run.
And I'm like, so now I've planned out parks where I know he can't run through the park and then to a road. There's some kind of like fence or something. So I'm like, okay, even if he runs as fast as he can, as long as he can, there's eventually a fence. Maybe it's a mile down the road, but it's all in fence so he can't get out. But otherwise, I don't take him to those parks anymore. or don't take him to a park where there's a river on the opposite end. Oh, and it's one of his favorite parks too.
Oh.
But he doesn't stop. He just keeps on running.
I remember when Liz was little, scared the crap out of me. There's a river by where we live that's got lots of shoreline for families to play in. And, for the first, good 5 or 6 feet, it's relatively shallow and there's not a whole lot of current or whatever, so little kids can play and whatnot. And
they have a little beach area, and it's roped off to where there's not going to be any undertow. It's like an inlet where that's really calm. But
4th of July, and Liz was, I think, the same age. I think she was 4, getting ready to go over to a friend's house, and Will's already there. Liz and I are at the beach, and we're going to go to our friends and meet everybody there, right? And she's got her little bucket, she's got her little toys, and she's playing in the beach. And I turn around and I tell her, hey, kiddo, we got to go, gather up your stuff, but it's time for us to go to Tita's, right? And I turn around to get her towel, and I turn back around, and she's gone. She is nowhere. And she was on that first 3 feet of, and I'm just, where is my kid? I'm in a complete panic mode. I can't see her. Oh my God, where's my kid? I'm freaking out. And here comes this guy tearing down the beach and jumps in the water. He had seen her go under right when I had turned around. Well, she had been standing on her bucket, but she was right before a dip in that beach there, and she'd fallen into the freaking river hole. This is why I don't take Elizabeth to the water, even now that she's a full-grown adult. I'm like, one time you fell into the river, and I panicked, and so you don't get to go to the beaches
You and Elizabeth
anymore.
have done a lot of firsts in only one-time events. Forgotten her at school on the last day of school. She did that.
Okay,
last day of school, she forgot her. She got to go pick her up.
They told me it was a half a day. A half a day, and her school was they got out at noon, and I worked night shift at the time, so I got off work. I took her to school. I set my alarm for 11:30, and I went to bed because they said it was a half day. They didn't say it's a magical half day where it's not actually a half day; it's a quarter day, and you got to be here at 10 to pick her up. Because honestly, what's the point then? Because I dropped her off at 8. But anyways.
You almost let her drown.
Oh my God.
I'll show you something. There's a whole bunch of
I got scared the crap out of it. The beach, too. So, a little while later, the beach at the ocean, when we'd gone to the ocean, she was like 12. And we're walking, and we're playing in the beach. And again, it's like super low, and we're playing. The tide was coming in, I think. I don't ocean much, so I don't know. The tide, it was getting more ocean where we were than less ocean. I guess that means the tide's coming in. Water more.
Basically.
Anyway,
great analogy.
Yeah, thank you. I noticed that when we started where we were at on the beach, it was like waist deep for her, like it hit her on the hip, but for me it was a little bit lower on the leg, right? Well, now all of a sudden I'm noticing like it's waist deep on me, and it wasn't when we started. And I was like, oh, this is obviously some weird water magic. We need to go. So I tell Elizabeth,
some kind of voodoo,
right?
Water voodoo.
Don't know what's happening here. But yeah, I tell Elizabeth we need to head farther up the beach because the water is deeper, than it was when we started. We start walking, and then all of a sudden the water just starts rushing out past us, and she falls and just zips down the freaking beach, being pulled by the water. So I go running after her, and I'm not nearly as chunky as I am now, but hefty girl. So I'm just like grab my kid, and I've got her by the hand, and the beach water is still just rushing out, and she's literally flopping like this in the current while I was trying to suck her off into the thing. And I've got a hold of her like that. I've got one foot braced. I'm just screaming because that obviously helps. And
right.
Yeah. So that's why we haven't gone back to the beach.
Okay. I thought I was a terrible father. I've never had my kids drown. I've never lost them in the water.
None of our children have drowned.
Close. Twice. I've never had that happen at all. Not even once. Oh.
Because we haven't gone back to the beach. You're welcome, by the way, because that would have been terrifying. I was terrified. I went back and my mom's like, what happened? And Liz was like, there's sand in so many places. Everything hurts. And she was just rubbed raw from the sand. It was weird.
It sounds weird.
Yeah.
Huh. So your fix was just never go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beach evil, ocean evil,
Well,
water
clearly,
evil.
yeah, not necessarily evil, but clearly I'm just not meant to be there. I'm a land mammal, and I need to just accept that and stay on the land.
Okay. Well, I kind of feel the same thing about airplanes.
You're a land mammal. You're not an air mammal.
I was never meant to fly.
Well,
I mean, I've never been in an airplane that's crashed, but I just don't. Every time I fly, something always goes wrong.
you put your bat in 100 for staying in the air.
Yeah, there is that. I am batting 100 for Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of flying myself. When the plane starts to take off, I just want to vomit and pass out.
I mean, no, I don't want to vomit or take off. I don't get like turbulence or air sickness or anything like that. It's just every time I fly someplace, something always goes wrong. So that's why I drive.
Wait, didn't you do a lot of military flights?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Even those ones?
I mean, well, it kind of sucked because I took a plane one day and next thing you know, I ended up in a war zone. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? This isn't the Bahamas.
I don't. You didn't.
Okay, I knew I was going
Okay,
there.
I'm like, is that how they got you? They tricked you. They're like, hey, who wants to go to
They're
the
like, come
Bahamas?
on, it'll be
Get this
fun. Come with
plane."
us. And I'm like, all right. And they're like, here's an M16. Hold on to this. I'm like, all right. And next thing you know, I was in a war zone. Yeah, something like that.
You're just
No.
like, hold this. And then...
But I would. Yeah, I did a lot of military flights. Well, pretty much around the world. Yeah, if I put it all into like trying to look at it in a world map, I mean, quite a bit of Europe, Middle East. We didn't fly into the Bahamas. We were on ship.
Physical therapist at the office I used to work at was in Desert Storm, and one of the other tank gunner, he was the guy who drove the tank.
Driver?
Yes.
So he was a tank operator, driver,
and the
like that?
guy, the other guy was the one that did the pew-pews.
The pew-pew?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can't say what that is, but pew-pew. Another guy did a pew-pew. Okay.
Yeah, so the other guy did the pew-pews, and he was telling me that just before Desert Storm had started, this other guy was supposed to have been, he was like a week from discharge or something like that. Well, they basically didn't. He got re-upped.
That happened to me and Jason.
Yeah, without his without his consent.
Well, I mean, they it's not that they do it without consent. I can't remember. They actually had a term for it.
It compulsory. It was.
Yeah, well, there was another term for it on top of that. But
whatever
me
was
and Jason,
termed.
me and Jason were both within 6 months of serving out our contract, and they basically just said, "Screw you! You're not going home."
Yeah,
and we're like, "What?"
That's pretty much what they did to this guy. So
because we were both in the communications field. So they just didn't have anybody to replace us.
Oh.
So they're just like, we're sorry, but you don't get to go. That happens a lot, I guess.
Yeah, well, especially
it kind of sucks when it happens to you.
In times of active combat. I guess it happened to a lot of people during Desert Storm. Anyway, so apparently this particular guy who did the pew-pews in the tanks decided that, well, since he didn't want to be there and they clearly weren't going to kick him out, he started answering every address by an officer of higher rank than him with my butthole.
So he was looking for a dishonorable discharge? That's not a good way to go.
And yeah, so he said it didn't matter. He said he would do whatever they told him to do, but he only ever responded with,
yes, my butthole.
Nope, it was always my butthole.
My butthole. Why would he do that? That is just... He was looking for a Section 8? What the hell is he doing?
Apparently expressing his displeasure as often as he could.
And he didn't get discharged for that.
From what I hear, no. At least not in the time that the physical therapist worked with him.
Wow. You know, there's a lot of people out there that have stories like that. You know, you hear them over the years. It's like, really, did you really do that?
Dude, some of the
I know.
stuff.
Me and Jason both know a guy who did everything in his power, everything he could think of. He threw everything at the service to try to get him the discharge to get the hell out of there because he was so scared to actually, to go into combat. We're like, what the hell did you think you were joining? Does this look like the fucking Coast Guard to you? No.
Coast Guard gets into combat.
Right, but they don't like, make them, all right, now you're gonna, go to, Afghanistan and fight in the desert. There's
Navy.
a
coast in Afghanistan.
There's Navy. But I mean, still, but I mean, the point is, he knew what he was signing up for, but he didn't want to go. He's just that, so he threw everything at him. He told me that he was gay, told me he was suicidal, everything, and they're all like, okay. And then that didn't work, so they threw other things at him, and he didn't go as far as like what was it, that guy from MASH.
Klinger?
Klinger, yeah. He didn't like cross dress in uniform or anything like that, but I doubt that would have worked either. Because they still sent him his ass anyways. I mean, but I was always wondering, it's like when he brought up, because me and Jason were talking to him one night, and he said, I'm just going to tell him that I'm suicidal, and we're like, I think you have to send you to a hospital or something like that if you do that. And he's just like, oh, I don't care. I don't want to be here. We're like, you're an idiot.
I mean, honestly, I would think at that point that they'd want to get rid of him anyways. Because somebody who
Didn't have
doesn't want
enough
to be there
bodies.
that badly can't be producing quality work.
No, but he wouldn't do anything. They told him to do things. He just wouldn't do them.
Oh, see, this guy that Chad was telling me about, he did stuff. He just didn't respond.
I think they eventually court-martialed him, and he probably got a dishonorable discharge. But he eventually vanished from there. We thought he went AWOL or something, but you don't know.
I remember a while back, quite a while back, before you and I had met, so quite a while back. We'd had I don't know what you would call it, informal writing group of people that got together and went over what we were writing and brainstormed ideas, blah blah blah. And one of the gals in the writing group had met this dude, and I
should have brought my coffee up.
You should have.
Thank you.
Well, I don't want your germs. You got the Rona or something.
If I have the Rona, I got it from you.
Anyway, she tells us that this guy that she met, that he's in the military and that he's currently on leave, and we're like, oh, that's cool. And she's like, oh, can he come to whatever it was that we were doing? And we're like, yeah, you're bring your guy. That's cool. We'll meet him. And he seemed like a cool guy. He got along with the group. We were going somewhere. Because we were all young and unemployed. No one had vehicles, so we were walking wherever it was. We stopped along the way for something, or we were almost at the other person's house. I don't remember exactly. But like 7 fucking vans pulled up. A bunch of dudes got out, grabbed dude, put him in the van, and then they all just fucking left.
Huh.
So
he was AWOL. Probably.
Apparently, yes. And I I've got a lot of people in the military in my family, and I was talking to my stepdad, and I was like, do they do that if you don't come back? Do they send 7 fucking vans after you? That seems excessive.
Yeah, that is extremely excessive. In most cases, depending upon who you are, no. They don't really look for a lot of people. They just wait for them to fuck up and then
see. That's what I thought. Like you're AWOL, and they're like, okay, well, motherfuckers gotta show up eventually. They might send 1 or 2 people looking for you, but that's about it. Yeah, they're not gonna send 7 vans after you, unless you had like maybe you had like a clearance or something like that, or I don't know what maybe he had. It was somewhat of importance. Yeah, it was like he wasn't that much older than us.
Well, I don't know.
Anyway, it was kind of my understanding that, they know you'll surface eventually, so when that finally happens, then they, you know, they pick you up and do whatever. And I think they actively apprehended people who were AWOL. But let me tell you, when
Well,
you're
they don't give up either. They will go to ends. No, there's no distance that they will go. If you were in California stationed there, and then you end up in Maine, they'll come after you in Maine.
when you're
They
fucking
don't. You go to
18 years
Canada, they'll go
old
to Canada.
and a bunch of fucking vans show up and fucking dudes pour out, abduct the guy you just met, and then fucking left. That's a little on the.
I don't know. Maybe he had something when he went AWOL with him. Maybe he had some kind of government laptop or something. I mean, maybe it's like the
stolen
pre-Edward
equipment.
Snowden,
Ooh,
kind of thing,
conspiracy.
right? I don't know.
Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it.
That's their thumbnail right there.
Oh! Crystal reveals state secrets.
That's what I'm going to title this.
Oh, God.
I'm going to title this podcast Crystal Reveals State Secrets. And news at 11.
Oh, no.
But so we touched on our son is a nut.
He is a little nut.
And you knew somebody who had government secrets, and you're about to expose him. But I don't know of anybody who actually personally went AWOL.
I know one.
I've heard stories of people. Your dad, your stepfather.
Which one?
How many stepfathers do you have?
3.
Okay, I almost say Don. How about there? I'll narrow it down for you.
Okay.
He was telling me about a guy that went AWOL from the National Guard when he was at the Armory. He was telling me about this guy, and he literally waited for everybody to finish their field exercises, and he went out into the desert and hid. And then apparently he was just tired of the National Guard. That one weekend a month.
I was like, yeah, how do you get tired of the National Guard?
But he decided he was just done with it all, and he didn't want to be there anymore. And he waited for everybody to finish up their exercise, hid in the desert, and when everybody left, for their training exercise for the week, he hid, and then he left out the opposite direction, and just never came back. So his car was where everybody had gathered that weekend for their exercise. But everybody was
leaving. Why didn't he just?
He didn't. I don't know. Don was like, I don't know why he went that way. He went the opposite direction of everybody else, and we thought maybe he had shell shock or something, or something like PTSD or something. But he just went the opposite direction. And I'm like, so did they ever find him? He's like, yeah, they eventually found him. He was hiding in Mexico, and they ended up court-martialing him, and then discharging him.
It's the National Guard,
right? But there are people out there that do stupid things all the time.
Oh, that's so weird.
I mean, just because you give them the training and stuff like that doesn't mean that they're smart.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is true.
I know some really dumb people who've been in the service, just because we taught them how to shoot a gun, and how to march in line like a pretty little boy, but that doesn't mean that they're going to learn or have any common sense. We never did a proper open. Welcome to the
welcome to the Taco Cast.
Yeah, so this is Crystal. I'm Will. That's our intro. Now let's do our outro. Thank you for joining us. This has been the Taco Cast.
I hope everybody has a lovely Sunday.
And thank you for joining us today and listening to us ramble on. So next Sunday, will we be here on next Sunday?
Hi, so that's you.
What's that?
Yes.
Oh, and for everybody out there, as she was referring earlier, she kept on saying the word tita. Tita is Tagalog for aunt. So I just want to give people context of what you're talking about. We've been talking for so long, and we understand these words and what we're saying. Not everybody else is going to understand them. Context. Okay, no context. All right, everybody. Thank you. Online.
All right.
So we can't live stream with it yet until I can figure out what's the issue with that camera versus that camera, and why that one's not picking up the light. Maybe what we need. Maybe what? No, 3 times the price of that one.
That doesn't mean it doesn't suck.
Well, maybe what I need to do is move that camera over to that tripod.
Maybe it has an internal setting.
That could very well could be. So, you know, where that one has just one built-in mic, this one has got three. You know, built-in mics, got two forward and one reverse mic.
Fancy.
I know, right? But obviously, we could tell between the two that it wasn't working correctly.
Yeah.
So maybe this one's just too close for the field of depth to be able to pick up the light source. But anyways, so